The mainstream media have not reported on the fact Meghan Markle was friends with Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend. That is a fact. They had been on holiday together. There are numerous pictures of them on a yacht holiday. So the fact the press have never mentioned this, and the mainstream media continue to offer some very questionable protection to the facts, this rings my alarm bells massively.
Meghan Markle is truly feeling the pressure, and this isn't some staged moment for the cameras. She's actually anxious. And why? Because her past before Prince Harry came along says a lot about her. Tom Bower spent years looking into Meghan's life. He interviewed 80 sources, did hundreds of interviews, brought in lawyers to double-check everything. What he discovered about Meghan long before she started dating Harry, even before people recognized her from the TV show Suits, is something Harry himself, according to a lot of trustworthy people, was never told about. We're talking about questions over money, travel, and the powerful, secretive circles Meghan used to hang around in, places where cameras weren't allowed and reputations were made in private. Now, after 8 years, this investigation is almost finished. The lead investigator claims to have the footage, the witnesses, and proof about what really happened. For Harry, the man who gave up his entire family, his country, even his own sense of self to stand by Meghan, it comes down to one painful question. Did he ever really know who she was?
If we look at this from, a legal point of view, she is not going to put something out there that she doesn't truly believe in. Evidently, this is an investigation that has spanned many, many years. She's very detailed and forensic. So I think Meghan Markle will be panicking because at the end of the day, Dan, things don't make sense with Meghan Markle. That's a fact.
Tom Bower's book, Revenge, is where you want to start to really get what's happening now. Bower didn't simply write about family drama. He went deep into Meghan Markle's whole adult life, step by step. And what did he find? As one source says, Meghan showed two very different sides to herself. One she kept hidden, one almost made up. A lot of what she told people about herself just couldn't be checked. And sometimes her stories simply fell apart when anyone looked closer. For example, Meghan often talked about her PNG campaign as proof she cared about charity for years. But when Vanity Fair's people tried to fact-check it, they found nothing. She said Hillary Clinton wrote her a personal letter, but again, no real evidence. Meghan's own father confirmed that Meghan has been telling a version of events that Bower would call fiction. These details aren't small mix-ups. They are part of a pattern. And as Bower pointed out, patterns don't lie.
One of us has been quietly tracking the cover-up for 8 years. So again, these words really matter, Lauren, because what she is suggesting is that for 8 years, there has been a cover-up involving the truth of Meghan Markle, which presumably would also, in some ways, bring in the royal family and the mainstream media and Meghan's PR operation. She then went on to say, collecting sources and filing away testimony from all the people she's treated horribly. They plot, sometimes for years.
I think Meghan Markle will be panicking. I'm predicting it's not going to be a great year for Meghan.
That's how long one determined investigator has been collecting evidence, talking to people who say Meghan didn't treat them well. And apparently, there are a lot of them. This person says Meghan managed her whole reputation by deliberately hiding who she really was before she became the Duchess of Sussex. Bower's research gave this cover-up its basic shape, a picture of a woman who knew from very early on that getting close to powerful people is its own kind of currency. She always knew which parties to go to, which men could help her, and which version of herself to show each crowd. And if you want to understand what's being investigated now, you need to understand that mindset. Why does this matter? Well, without Bower's whole background, a new investigation could seem like just another attack from someone with a grudge. With his research, though, it looks like the obvious end of a paper trail that's been getting thicker for years. The 80 people Bower interviewed, they weren't coming up with these opinions on their own. Their stories were double-checked, verified, and reviewed by lawyers across different years, jobs, and even countries. What they said matched. Meghan always showed the same pattern. There was always a difference between the way she presented herself in public and what she was actually like in private. That gap is exactly what the planned Yacht investigation aims to expose.
When Virginia Giuffre's lawyer gave that statement and referred to Meghan Markle, the press barely covered it. It's never been referenced post that time. And so you have to ask yourself, why would the press not mention that? Because that's factual, it's evidence. We can pull, those cuttings up and throw back to them, and they never do. Now, I think Virginia's lawyer was sending a very clear warning to Meghan Markle. That is my opinion.
For Harry, Meghan was part of the Soho House scene, long before her royal wedding or starring on Suits. Before anyone outside a small Hollywood world even knew her name, Meghan spent time in private members' clubs and exclusive social networks, places specifically built so there's no public record of what goes on. Her closest friend there was Marcus Anderson, so important to Soho House that they named a rosé wine after him. He also works for Ron Burkle, the billionaire with the biggest say in Soho House, a man whose wide network has definitely raised some eyebrows. This is a crowd Meghan knew, and as Tom Bower's research proves, this is a version of her life that her sophisticated PR team worked really hard to keep secret. Just look at the places she moved. Los Angeles to Toronto, then to London and Montecito. And the rumor is Marcus Anderson moved for Meghan at every stage. That sort of loyalty points to shared history, special knowledge, maybe that mutual understanding about what's kept private and what can never go public. Tom Bower, who looked at Meghan's relationships in super close detail, described a woman who fostered exactly these sorts of useful connections. People who knew the real story, people who could help her, and people who needed to keep her secrets, as much as she kept theirs.
Every single word in a legal statement holds weight. We all knew that Meghan hadn't spent a lot of personal time with Andrew once she was in the royal family. That's a fact. So the words that David Boies used were very, very strange. Why go to somewhere like Soho House or any private members club? Like, normal people don't do that. We go to the pub. Why go somewhere where you're not allowed cameras and everything?
There was a moment that barely made the news, never really followed up. When a major lawyer brought up Meghan Markle's name during a big court case, David Boies, representing Virginia Giuffre in her suit against Prince Andrew, said, on the record, that Meghan could be a potential witness. He said Meghan was close to Andrew for a certain period, that she might know firsthand about his actions, and that she was, in his exact words, someone they could count on to tell the truth. Every part of that statement was carefully chosen. It was a warning, made public, and then ignored by most of the media. That raises a question Tom Bower finds familiar. Who decided that story wasn't important, and why? Bower wrote in Revenge about how incredibly well the Sussex PR operation could squash uncomfortable stories. He called it aggressive and extremely effective when it worked. A lawyer linking Meghan to a big legal case should have been non-stop news for every royal reporter in both the UK and US. Instead, it was mentioned once and quickly forgotten. That's not just journalism being picky. It's something more purpose-driven. And this is precisely the kind of protection that a real 8-year evidence-based investigation could finally break through.
Mainstream media do not make the link that Meghan Markle's best friend works for Ron Burkle. Ron Burkle is, the big cheese at Soho House. Marcus Anderson is so much part of Soho House, they named the rosé wine after him. It's called Lady A. It's incredibly strange that one of Epstein's closest confidants, Ron Burkle, does not get a mention ever. These are strange circles.
Go to places where cameras aren't allowed. That simple question is at the center of everything that's being investigated now. Before Suits gave her steady money, Meghan had gaps in her story, gaps in her finances, in where she was. Her way of life as an actress seemed much more expensive than her paycheck would allow. She traveled. She showed up at exclusive parties. She was seen at private yacht events with some very wealthy and powerful men, whose names the press never seemed to link to Meghan. Why was she on the yacht? That's a big question in this 8-year-long investigation, with video, records, and direct witness accounts. Claims it can finally answer. Tom Bower tracked Meghan's climb into these circles with amazing detail. Here was a woman who, since childhood, seemed to know the right connection could open a door, and who studied every possible friendship before making a move. One source even claimed she dug deep into Harry's background before their supposed blind date. That sort of planning was always part of Meghan's life. And that's why people are still asking, just how did she pay for and manage the years before she became famous?
Things don't add up, Dan, and often when the mainstream media omit details, there is a game that is being played, and that doesn't work anymore.
Something hasn't quite added up about Meghan Markle's story for a long time, and people haven't dropped it. The reason researchers keep circling back, and the public keeps asking, is that the people with the real facts haven't been willing to talk until now. The same investigator, after 8 years, says there are videos, hard proof, and multiple sources saying they were in the room, or on the boats, when no cameras was the rule. The investigator also describes a cover-up, not just one secret, but a planned operation happening for years, and they claim to have the evidence to blow it wide open. Tom Bauer wouldn't find any of this shocking. After years of digging, he concluded that Meghan's entire public image was crafted, not real, and that there was never much substance behind it. And he says the most tightly closed years, before Harry, held all the real answers.
It looks so cheap, it looks desperate, and it just makes Meghan look like that yacht girl that she was, that we know she was.
Things don't make sense with Meghan Markle. There are some incredible researchers out, and the public also have done so much investigative looking into Meghan Markle.
Prince Harry is now 40. He gave up his family, his home, his real royal title, and basically his identity for Meghan. Harry wrote a tell-all memoir that burned every family bridge. He went on TV and said he found real love and real truth far away from the royal family in California. But Tom Bauer's harsh bottom line, Harry probably never had the full story about who he was marrying. Not the real truth, not what this huge investigation now says it has on file. Bauer also wrote, there will always be casualties in Meghan's life. Her father, past friends, her first husband. The only question was when it would be Harry's turn. But what's especially hard about this story is that Harry may have been lost not because of something Meghan did after the wedding, but because of the secret she kept before he even met her.
This rings my alarm bells massively.
What we want to know is why Virginia Giuffre was specifically calling on Meghan to give evidence.
And that statement from the lawyer was so smartly worded. It was vague, and it was vague by design.
Harry and Meghan should be shaking in their boots right now if they are not already. And they could have had the best of all worlds if they had played their cards right. But this was a route Harry and Meghan decided to go down where they trashed their family, and this is the result.
Confusion on purpose. Did Harry actually know about that big legal statement? Was he told that an American lawyer had placed his wife's name in the middle of one of the biggest royal scandals ever? And if he was told, what did Meghan say it meant? These are direct, honest questions, not just what did Meghan do before Harry. The real issue is what she chose not to tell him about herself, and the version she showed to a vulnerable, grieving, lonely prince. Bauer said Harry was desperate for love and connection after everything he'd lost. Now, as a carefully managed image starts to crack, Bauer left no doubt. Harry was badly advised at every key moment. He made choices in the heat of the moment that a calmer, better-informed Harry might never have made. And the tragedy, the real, personal tragedy buried under all the drama, is that Harry, after a lifetime in the public eye, somehow knew almost nothing about the woman he appended his world for.
She is going to be worried about this because, again, the mainstream media have not reported on the fact.
Prince William doubles down. According to multiple sources, it's now a matter of when, not if, he strips Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their royal title.
William is planning to act very decisively when he becomes king to take away the titles, the HRHs, once and for all from all non-working royals, which will have the silver lining for him of removing them from Harry and Meghan.
Tom Bauer didn't just collect rumors. He mapped out Meghan's behavior across her whole life, using over 80 sources, all checked by lawyers and published in a book no one's been able to challenge in court. Bauer saw a very clear cycle. Someone comes into Meghan's life, feels special, gets close, even becomes vital to her. Then, suddenly, things shift and they are tossed aside. This happened to childhood friends, college classmates, people she worked with before fame, Palisade who helped her for years, her dad, and, as Bauer suggests, Harry too. Meghan is smart, but in Bauer's view, she isn't quite smart enough. She doesn't see her own limits. And that's a huge trap, not realizing she may have gone too far. There are lots of people wanting to finally tell their story. And that's what should really worry Meghan, because the main investigator now isn't counting on just one unhappy source. She has many, from all periods of Meghan's life. They aren't connected, but they all ended up reaching the same conclusion about her, and they apparently have been waiting for the chance to say so in public.
Collecting sources and filing away testimony from all the people she's treated horribly. There are so many people who want to speak out.
I mean, I love an investigation. I'm often up till 3 a.m. going down rabbit holes myself, so I cannot wait to see this.
She will be absolutely terrified about the idea that this house and habit investigation is finally going to drop.
While all this shakes out and the investigation moves closer, Meghan keeps playing her part. Red carpet events, carefully chosen photos, trying to look important in a Hollywood that's starting to cool towards her. Tom Bauer would recognize what she's doing here. Under more pressure, perform even harder. When the story starts to slip, fill the news with pictures. And Harry is watching it all, cut off from his family. And if these sources are right, from the truth about his wife's real history, according to Bauer, Harry just wanted real love, and he found it in someone who'd been acting out different versions of himself long before he ever showed up.
We all know Harry is very miserable right now. I think the signs are there that Harry wants to get back to his royal life. He needs to get back to what is familiar to him.
The problem you've got here in a relationship with Meghan and Harry is this is a boy that was pretty much traumatized by media presence when he was little. He didn't really want any of this publicity. He was always attacking photographers. She's someone, ever since she was on the red carpet, who's craved publicity.
Badly advised. That's a phrase Bauer uses, and it fits. If someone had actually sat Harry down and told him the full truth about Meghan before they got married, maybe his choices would have been different, but he wasn't properly advised. Now, he's living through the fallout from decisions made in the dark about a woman whose past is finally coming into the open for everyone to see.
The royal family would not be coming to Harry's rescue. They would not be funding a divorce to any extent. And they, at this point, wouldn't really care what Meghan tried to say or do, because Meghan has so discredited herself as a liar, a cheat, and a fool.
Harry and Meghan should be shaking in their boots right now.
The royal family hasn't said anything in public, and of course not. That's just what they do. They watch, they wait, and when they respond, they do so all at once, with authority. But the people who saw Meghan up close from inside the palace, staff, advisors, royals themselves, they remember exactly what she was like even early on. And you can bet these newly public questions about Meghan's life before royalty are not news to them.
Harry and mostly Meghan, it seems, are actually really obsessed with the titles. Meghan and Harry care a lot about those titles, and they say that they don't, but they clearly do.
You've got to look at the way that Harry has actually been badly advised, because after he lost that case in London against the British government to get armed protection.
Diana didn't just talk about charity. She really gave herself to it. She sat with sick people. She held hands when no one else would. And she didn't care about fame or comfort when it came to helping. Harry saw this. To him, this was what royal duty and real kindness was all about. And then he married Meghan, who shows up for events in fancy outfits, poses for a few photos, and then leaves. She built a charity that most say employed mainly white staff. Strange, for someone who reshaped her post-royal image around issues of race. Tom Bauer says Meghan always spun herself as a celebrity dealing with being recognized, but real purpose was always second to the look. And Harry, who learned about real compassion from Diana, may only now be starting to see just how different Meghan is.
I absolutely despise philanthropy when it's used like this, because this really is a networking event for all the elites, isn't it? I am sick of seeing Meghan Markle and Prince Harry turn up to anything that they feel will propel them forwards. Remember what your mother did, Prince Harry. She was doing the charity work that was not cool, the charity work that people shied away from.
A tiara without the hard work. That's the main point. That's what Tom Bower found after years of research. And the current investigation? It claims it has 8 years' worth of proof. Meghan wanted all the perks. Every door open, every title, every prestigious connection. She was willing to do what it took to get them. In places where nobody was watching, in exclusive rooms with no cameras, on yachts with secret guest lists.
This has been Meghan Markle's MO from the beginning. She wants all of the privileges that go along with an identity, but she doesn't want any of the responsibility. She wants the tiara. She doesn't want the public service.
And this is utter bullshit. I am so sick of seeing celebrities just care about how they line their pockets, how they preserve their reputation.
William knows. That might be the single most important line in this whole story. No matter what comes out in the investigation, or what the public learns this year, Prince William, who was always skeptical of Meghan and tried to warn Harry, was watching very closely. He already knows the truth about her. When the time is right, he won't react emotionally either. What Tom Bower predicted, William will act with decision, and it will be final. Whatever threads still connect Meghan to the royal family, the titles, the Her Royal Highness, once William acts, those will all be gone.
Meghan is doing her best to make this Hollywood comeback. Meghan believes her best approach is to just keep on accepting any invite, even if she's not really invited to an event.
She's attached herself to Emma like a Siamese twin.
She's friends with the moms rather than the stars themselves. She's friends with Kris Jenner. She's friends with Tina Knowles. She's not friends with Beyonce anymore. She's not friends with Kim Kardashian.
No one is coming to help Harry. The family he left, that he attacked in public, that he accused of racism and cruelty, they're not riding in to save him now. They already reached their own conclusions about Meghan Markle years ago. And when this investigation becomes public, it will just confirm what the people closest to the throne already know in documentary form. For Harry, the guy who didn't see it coming, the one who gave up everything for Meghan, it's not just a royal or career downfall. It's very personal, and it hurts. Tom Bower's question about when Harry will become a casualty now has a clear answer, and it seems like it's happening right now.
The public, quite rightly, have a lot of unanswered questions for Meghan Markle. We want to know why she is allowed to cause the damage I believe she has gone out of her way to try and do to the royal family. She behaves in an incredibly entitled way, and things don't match up. And often when the mainstream media omit details, there is a game that is being played, and that doesn't work anymore. No, thank you. We'll get to the bottom of it.
We will get to the bottom of this. That's a calm confidence coming from the people who have been working this investigation for years. Biographers spent years charting the same pattern. The public has watched and waited, never fully buying the story they were told. But that's where things currently stand. The investigation is coming. Tom Bower built the foundation. The proof is all ready. And for Harry and Montecito, who believe he knew exactly the woman he married, the truth, when it is finally revealed, will be the most important discovery of all. Not for the royal family. They had already accepted Harry's choice long ago. Not even for the public. They've spent years picking apart Meghan's gaps. No, the biggest shock will be for Harry himself, Diana's son, who grew up seeing real service and sacrifice, the man who, despite any faults or mistakes, truly deserved to know the truth about the woman he gave up everything for. Before you go, can I ask you something? If it comes out that Harry genuinely had no idea about Meghan's past before they met, and that she really did hide this from him, do you feel sorry for him? Or do you think he's made too many bad choices for sympathy? And, bigger picture, do you believe the mainstream media will finally tell the full truth when this story breaks? Or will they keep protecting Meghan, even when the proof is right there? Tell me what you think. Leave your opinions below. This community always has the best discussions. If this video made you think or see things differently, please hit the like button. It really helps. And if you're not subscribed yet, now's the time. We're here every day and we're not going anywhere. Thank you so much for watching.